Hi everyone, welcome back to Anu's classroom. In this video, we will be doing a very quick revision on MMPC 3, that is business environment. Okay, so we have already discussed the important questions. Apart from that, just a quick touch base on the important topics that you have to at least study and go. Okay, just like how we have already done for 1 and 2, same way. So, what is business environment? First and foremost, you need to know what is actually meant by the term business environment and why is it important, right? So what is business environment? It is the aggregate of all the conditions and events that influence and surround a business. So if this is your organization or your business, everything within the organization, that is internal, and outside the organization, that is external, is its business environment. Simply the environment in which the business operates, that is business environment, right? So what are the internal environment? The culture of the organization, the people in the organization, the financial capabilities of the organization, the structure, the vision, the mission, the value systems, right? All these things come under internal system. Then the external system. External could be immediate external or in general, right? So the immediate external, that is the micro environment. It includes your suppliers, your customers, the marketing intermediaries, all those different, or maybe if you have outsourced, then those people, right? The contractors, all those things come under the micro environment, that is that and they have a bit more influence than the general environment or the macro environment, which is almost common to all the industries which are similar to you or your country, right? So like the economic situation in the country where you're operating, the political legal environment, the technological advancements, the global what you can say, the global environment, or the how things are globally, any natural things like there was a coronavirus, right? We all were sitting at home. That was a change in the macro environment. It is totally out of our hands, right? Nobody could control it, right? We all could just bend our ways to circumvent it and keep on living, right, as much as possible. That was the situation we were in, and we are just slowly coming out of it, right? And we don't know what else is coming, right? It has actually shook our society, changed it drastically. Socio-cultural environment, the demographics, all those things come under the external environment. So from this, we can identify the nature of business environment, right? It is quite dynamic, it is uncertain, it is very complex, it is relative, and it is interrelated, right? The macro, micro, and internal environments are all interrelated. Something like COVID itself, you take, it has affected the employees, it has affected the suppliers, our customers, intermediaries, the political legal situation in our country, everything, the technology, all these things were affected, right? So everything is interrelated. A change in one will definitely repercute to changes in others, right? So that becomes what is business environment, the scope of it and nature of it. Scope is the internal, external is further divided into micro and macro. Please learn this and go. You will either get a question regarding what is the scope of business environment, or what is external environment, what do you understand by internal, or the nature, something of this sort. No, one question has been coming, right? So if it did not come also, you will be able to use this and make some other answer bigger as well, right, depending upon the question you are choosing. So this is important. Then the growth theories, right? Like Harrod-Domer model or Solo model, endogenous growth model, or the new growth theory. Endogenous growth theory actually came as a short answer question last time, so that you study and go. Endogenous or the new growth theory, it states that economic growth of the nation. Okay, this is the endogenous growth theory or the new growth theory. Keep a note of this word, okay? So that is where economic growth of a nation is generated by endogenous factors of production. Endogenous means within, right? Like technological factors, changes, etc., rather than exogenous. Exogenous is outside. So for a country or for a nation, economic growth according to endogenous growth theory is that whatever changes are happening endogenously, that is within the nation, will be responsible for its that nation's economic growth, rather than the exogenous factors. Exogenous is outside the nation. Okay, so it suggests that government should focus on the creation of human capital as well as attraction of foreign capital investments in order to make sure there is economic growth for that particular nation. Then Solo model of economic growth, that says that the changes in population growth rate of technological progress, savings rate change, the all these things changes the level of output. So that is the neoclassical growth theory. So if you get a question on neoclassical growth theory, then you have to write the solo model of economic growth, where it says that changes in population growth rate, rate of technological progress, and savings rate will change the level of economic output. Okay, then we have Harrod-Dormer model of economic growth, where growth rate in economy is said to be dependent on the savings to income rate and the capital to output ratio. That is, when investment increases income and productivity. So increasing investment means increasing income and increasing productivity. So at least one or two growth models you please study and go. Okay, then what is GDP? Gross domestic product. What is capital to output ratio? It is the capital that is required to produce 1 unit of output. Okay, then what is environmental analysis? So what is environmental analysis? It is the process through which an organization monitors and comprehends various environmental forces in order to identify the opportunities as well as threats, right? So some of the few steps will be, we have to scan the internal as well as external factors. We have to group these scanned factors. Then you have to observe our internal factors, monitor the external factors, define a variable for analysis, identify the specific techniques that are used for analysis, forecast, form a strategy, and then evaluate, apply and evaluate it. Okay, then another important concept that you need to know about is the production function. Production function, what is it? Production function is the relation between your input and output. Then at least the two theories of underdevelopment, that is the vicious circle of poverty and theory of big push. Okay, so the theory of big push, that is a big push is required for an economy to unshackle itself from the chains of underdevelopment. Okay, and vicious circle of poverty is that, see, when we have low income, okay, low income, it means there is low savings, right? Low income means we can't save much, therefore we have low savings and low demand as well, right? Now what happens when there is low savings and low demand? There is less investment, right? Investment becomes less. Now what happens if there is less investment? Then the capital formation rate is low, right? Low capital formation. Now what if there is low capital formation? Then definitely low productivity, right? Now if what happens if there is low productivity means there is nothing much coming in the market. So again what will happen? The salary, people who are working will not get enough salary. So what will happen again? It will again become result in low income. So that is the vicious circle of poverty. So once you're poor, you will remain poor, right? So this is the reason. If you're poor, you don't have much income, then you can't save much, you can't buy much, then that means there is low investment, there is low rate of capital formation, therefore there is not enough money circulating in the economy, there is low productivity, and therefore low income. So what should be done? There should be a big push, right? There should be some amount of money that is forcibly introduced into the market so that we can come out of this. Maybe people have to go abroad and get the money, work for foreign lands, right? That is what actually happened in Kerala as well. So if you see in Kerala, at least one person from a household, even now, still works in the Gulf. What you can say, the major part of money that is flowing in the Kerala economy, it comes from foreign investments, right? Foreign exchanges, currencies. It is the money that flows mainly from the Gulf. Right now, money is starting to flow more from Europe and America, Australia, all those places as well. But the large chunk still comes from the Gulf, right? The Gulf is almost infested with Malayalis. That's what is happening right now. Even I myself was brought up in a Gulf country. So that is the truth, right? So that is the reason why there is inflow. That is how Kerala actually developed. So maybe that is the so similar situations would be there in other states as well, right? So those are the theories. Okay, hope you understood. Okay, so then the next important thing that you should keep in mind is the Rostow's 5 stages of economic growth. Okay, the 5 stages of economic growth by Rostow. So in that, what we are saying is that first there is a traditional society. That traditional society gets preconditioned to take off. Then there is the actual take off. Then there is a drive towards maturity, and there is an age of high mass consumption. That is the Rostow's 5 stages of economic growth. Then what is inflation? Inflation is too much money is there in the market but too few goods, right? Where the situation is where the value of money actually falls and therefore prices rise. Then we have the different types of inflation. So some questions had come up like what are the different types of inflation, or at least like explain at least 2 types of inflation, like that questions had come. right? So you can study at least at least two of them. Okay, we have three, that is creeping or moderate inflation, where the inflation is in single digits. We have a galloping inflation, where the digit rate of inflation is in double or triple. Then we have hyperinflation, where prices rise more than 50% and so in a month, right? Sri Lanka is going through hyperinflation. You might have heard the news, right, some time ago. Sri Lanka has, after the COVID, it has the financial is very very poor there. So over there actually it is going in a hyperinflation. Okay, so that is inflation. Then and then what else? It is good that you, if you can take a note of what are the different elements in, say, social environment, or the political legal environments, or the cultural environment, or no. Like social environment, it will be the attitude, our belief, lifestyle, preferences, the government, right, social institutions, education and all. Whereas in political environment, it will be the civil liberties, the international political relation, the government policy, the political stability of the nation, the political ideologies, democracy, all those things. Cultural will be our knowledge, beliefs, again religion, language, ethnicity, all those things come under cultural environment. So like that, the different factors or the different elements of all these individual environments, if you can take a note, it will be good. Otherwise also, like if you think about the word, right, political, so what all things political? Democracy, the political parties, the government's policy, right? Culture, what all things define our culture? Our language, religion, ethnicity, right? So you will be able to make up, just go through, read through it and keep, so you can link and study, right? You will be able to easily get the points when you are writing the exam. Yeah, then Indian financial system, right? RBI, the structure of RBI. What is the structure of money market, right? Organized and unorganized is there. What is the structure of capital market? Those things are important, right? Questions have come up like what is explain about RBI, or explain about the structure of capital market in India. If not a single essay question, then at least as a sub short note type of question has come up with this. Then what is a bank? So if a question comes about RBI, then you can start by writing about what is a bank, right? A bank is a company that transacts in the business of banking. And what is banking? It is accepting the deposit of money from public for the purpose of lending or investment with a promise of repayment on demand by the depositor, with the facility of withdrawal by check, draft, order, or something, right? So banking, what is a bank? It is a company that transacts in the business of banking. What is banking? Accepting deposit of money for the purpose of investment with a promise of repayment. That is a banking. Okay. Yeah, so then as I told, structure of money market as well as capital market, read and go. Then what is SEBI? SEBI actually came up as a short note question, right? What is SEBI? SEBI is the regulator of capital market, right? Securities Exchange Board of India. It is established in 1988 as a non-statutory body. Then after the SEBI Act in 1992, it became a statutory body. You can write about what was that person's name? Let me think. Yeah, Harshit Mehta. If you are any fan of web series, definitely you would have come across the 1992 scam, right? There have been a lot of recently a lot of movies and web series is made out of made based on the scam that was done by Harshit Mehta. So after that only it became a statutory body after the SEBI Act and all. So the reason why SEBI was formulated or made up was to protect the interest of the investors, development, regulate the stock exchange, prohibit unfair trade practices that are related to the securities market and insider trading, right? Registration of stock exchange, mutual funds, brokers, sub brokers, all those things. So SEBI is something that you should know in general as well, right? Then about the international financial system. So in that second block, actually for banking, related to the banking and financial, you have to learn about RBI, about IMF, World Bank. Okay, so at least I make a general idea. There are a lot of other things also, like Narasimham committee and all. It is actually quite huge, and it's kind of like a boring block, let me tell you, to be honest. But still, there are a few things that you must know. At least a few major pointers of Narasimham committee. Why IMF was formed? What is the reason why World Bank has been formed? Difference between what is IMF and how is it different from World Bank, right? IMF is an international organization that is aimed to reduce global poverty and encourage international trade and promote financial stability and economic growth. Whereas the World Bank is an organization that is owned by the developed countries, and its role is to reduce poverty by lending money to the governments of the poorer members, right? There are 190 countries in IMF, but only 187 countries in World Bank, right? And World Bank is like the world's bank, and IMF is a fund. Actually, it is a monetary fund. It is a fund that is there to help countries regarding the trade and all those things, right? Whereas World Bank is to lend money to the governments of poorer members. Both IMF and World Bank, if you take money from them, they will start meddling with your economic policies. They'll start telling you what to do or what not to do. All those things you will come under their terms and conditions, and you have to follow it because they want you to repay the money. Okay, so your economy will develop, but it will come with a cost, plus or minus, right? Then balance of payments and balance of trade. Okay, it is almost the same. Balance of trade is a component of balance of payments. Please learn about balance of payments and go. Okay, then the gold standard, or the gold exchange standard, just have an idea about it, because earlier at the beginning, before the Great Depression and all, we used to pledge our money in terms of gold actually. So how much ever money is circulating, we used to pledge it to gold. We used to have an equivalent gold reserves, and after a while we used to pledge it to US dollar, and then the US dollar had equivalent gold over there. But then there was the Bretton Woods summit, that is the Bretton Woods system of exchange rate was there, where in 1944 44 countries, delegates from 44 countries at the UN Monetary Financial Conference, which was held at Bretton Woods, and that's why the name. So what happened is that they decided gold was the basis of US dollar, right? And all the other currencies, they were pegged to the US dollar's value. But then when President Richard M. Nixon came, and he announced that the US will no longer be able to exchange the gold for US currency, because there was because of this black money and stuff, not just black money, actually illegal currencies, right, came in, fake currencies came in. And what happened is that in the market there was more US currencies, US dollar bills circulating than what reserve they had in gold. And this system actually of pegging currencies to US dollar, it dissolved. I'm thinking that this session, we will wind it up in 30 minutes. That's half an hour. Please bear with me if it goes a little bit beyond it, because I want to touch on at least a few important concepts and explain it a little bit more. Okay, that is why. Because especially as I said, right, in the block which deals with the banking and stuff, it is a bit boring to read. So I thought I will focus on a bit more on that, especially the important points. Okay, so another thing is, a question could come like whether current account deficit is a cause of alarm or not. That is related to balance of payment. So if a question comes like that, you can start by writing what you understand by balance of payment, what are the common components of balance of payment, and then say come to the point where whether current account deficit is a cause of alarm or not. Then you can go and say for example, like current account deficit means what? It means value of imports have become more than value of exports, right? Import is greater than export. So why, when all can imports be greater than exports? When foreigners have a greater claim on domestic assets, like when there is a large amount of FDI investment, then naturally there will be more import than export, right? Like Chinese investments in Africa and all. Now, so then that is good, right? But if it is that we are taking a lot of, if it is FDI the reason for a current account deficit, it is good. But if you are borrowing from abroad, like maybe IMF or World Bank, then it is bad, right? Then it could also indicate an unbalanced economy. Then a large deficit could cause exchange rate depreciation and cost push inflation. Okay, so like that you can say. So if current account deficit is there, it can be harmful if it is unsustainable. There is a risk of capital flight. There is foreign ownership of asset, that is it is not FDIs. Okay, it is an ownership. Okay, they are buying our assets, means it is harmful. It could be an indication of an unbalanced economy. There could be a risk of depreciation. It could be an indicator of an uncompetitive economy as well, right? Now, if it would be beneficial, or it is not harmful if it could be occurring due to a period of inward investment, that is FDIs, with a floating exchange rate. Or it could be an indicator of a strong economy that is growing rapidly because of these FDIs. Okay, so in those cases, current account deficit could be a good thing, right? So just by saying that current account deficit is there, it is not a cause of alarm. We need much more investigation on what caused the current account to be deficit to check whether it is a cause of alarm or not. So that is how you have to frame your answer. Then you need to know about foreign trades, their benefits. Like, what is foreign trade? Exchange of goods and services between two countries, right, in the international market. What are the some of the advantages or disadvantages of foreign trade? Then what is absolute advantage theory and comparative advantage theory? There could be a question on asking you to describe about what is absolute advantage or what is comparative advantage theory, whether absolute advantage in all goods is beneficial. Like, for example, if there is a country and can produce all goods, can it benefit from comparative advantage? Yes, of course, right? If US is good at producing computers and South America is good at producing roses, if all people like for example, if US computers can get more money than roses, suppose say US can produce both computers and roses, right? South America can also produce roses and computers, but South America can produce what you can say more profit from roses and less from computers because they don't have enough resources, say for example. Then in that case, suppose US is producing all computers and importing from roses from South America, then it will be an advantage for US, right? So that is why comparative advantage is still beneficial and not absolute advantage, right? So things like that you should know. Then what are the some of the barriers to foreign trade? Barriers and how to overcome them is a very favorite sweet topic for IGNO exam, so you should know about that. Then what is FDI? What are the different types of FDIs could come in as what you can say a short note question? What are trading blocks could be a short note question. So a block is a trading block is a block of nations or a group of nations that only have trade relations with each other, like for example our European Union. Then a question could come like what are the components of the international money market, like the euro currency market is there, euro bond market is there, euro note, euro commercial papers, so such things. What is foreign aid? What are the types of foreign aid? Then trade financing, like cash in advance. What is documentary credit? Or it could come like what is drafts, consignments, and open accounts. So it could ask you to explain about foreign trade, or it could ask about what are the few explain about 2 or 3 types of documentary credit, or what are the different types of documentary credit, explain with an example. Or drafts also it could come like that. So you should know what is a revocable documentary credit. It has no guarantee. Irrevocable means it has guarantee. Then we have confirmed, unconfirmed, transferable. Similarly, drafts also we have site drafts where money is given when, at the site of goods. Time drafts, clean drafts, documentary drafts, like that. Then ADRs is an important topic. Another important topic, we have been having questions about ADRs, and tell about at least 2 types of ADRs, or what do you understand by sponsored ADR, what do you understand by level 1, level 2 ADR, like that. Non-sponsored ADRs and also ADRs, please look and go. Okay, same way is the GDR, global depository receipts. Okay, so it could come like what is ADR and GDR could come up as a short note question. So ADR, BOP, all these things, please read and go. IMF, what are the important what you can say important recommendations put forth by Narasimham committee. So we have two Narasimham committees. What was given in 1 and 2, and all those things you can write. Okay, then biotechnology and international business, good to know, right? Because how biotechnology and international business is improving automation, communication with customers, efficient operation, right? Impact on business culture and relation, security, research capacity. There is improved human immunity. Production has been much more efficient. There is early detection and treatment of genetic diseases now. Nutritionally advanced crops are coming. We have genetically modified crop varieties. Animal cloning is there. Animal treatment, surgery, medical equipment improvement. All those things come under biotechnology and international benefits. Sorry, international business. So it is good to know, or good to have an idea about, at least a general idea about what is blockchain. Blockchain is a system of recording informations which completely prohibits any change or hack or cheat in the system. So the concept of blockchain is like every transaction is recorded as a block, okay, as a chain. And even if you what you can say try to change this one link also, the type of encryption over there, it actually detects whether or not you have changed it. Okay, so and it is some sort of a mathematical computation actually which takes place in order to find out the actual next chain next block in the chain. It is something related to that. So that is generally, so you can from a non-science or non-technical background, if you are from arts or something, just understand that blockchain, it is a system of recording information which completely prohibits any change, hack, or cheat to the system, right? It is kind of like a digital ledger of transactions that is duplicated and distributed across the entire network of computer systems. So naturally, blockchain actually uses a lot of computational power because there are multiple copies of the transaction stored, right? And you don't know where all the transaction copies might be stored. Okay, so even if you change one link in one chain, it is very easy to fetch another actual copy and replace the broken or hacked block with the actual one. That's how it works. Then what is artificial intelligence? It is a simulation of human intelligence in machines. Machine learning, it is also a part of this AI. It is a study of all the computer algorithms that can be improved automatically through everyday experience with the use of data. What is customer relationship management softwares? It is a software system or a software database which helps in the creation of a database for all your customer connects, right? All the orders and all the addresses, payment details, everything, CRM. Okay, it is very much essential while you are running businesses on a global scale, because it helps to create this kind of a database for maintaining the product order histories, all the concerns that are raised by consumers or your customers, personal as well as business related information of each individual consumer, along with their contact details like your anniversary date, or the date on which you purchase some item, maybe your birthday, all those kinds of things, right? It enables the company or business to track the customer's location along with any of the languages that they speak, and the local customs also, and the company may be required to be aware of, alongside any applicable trade rules or restrictions. Like for example, if Apple is marketing in India, they need to know when is Diwali, when is Onam, when is Eid, all those things, right? That is in India, that is going to be celebrated in India, so that they can target their market accordingly. So the CRM is very important when it comes to managing business organizations, when it comes to managing your human resources, when it comes to your marketing, everything, business communications, or it is important. uh, yeah, then what else? Then we have the industrial policy as well as the economic policy, so don't get confused. Okay, so industrial policy, it is for uh, it is related to state monopolies, the industrial part of it, right? How state monopoly, what all industries can be state monopoly, what all industrial sectors can have private investments coming in, what are the government control sectors, what all are given to the private enterprises, right? The Industrial Regulation and Development Act, where regulation of industrial investment and production was given, right? All the restrictive provisions like registration, examination, monitoring of industries, liberalization measures that were adopted. What are the measures that were adopted to accelerate the rate and growth and speed of industrialization in India? What happened after the new industrialization policy in 1991? Licensing was eliminated for lot many products except for like distilleries or tobacco products, aerospace, warships, and all. Automatic approval of FDIs, automatic permission for foreign technology agreements, public sector freedom was more given to the public sector. Then we had the MRTP Act, which allowed more freedom in terms of removing any kind of a pre-entry restriction, prior approvals from government for establishing new undertaking, all those things. So industry related. Okay, then we also had some state specific industrial policies like single window clearance, labor regulation, online tax return filing, inspection reform, availability of land, construction permit, environmental registration, all those kinds of things come under new industrial policy. Then we had the new economic policy. That is the LPG part: liberalization, privatization, globalization. Don't get confused between industrial and economic, because some things are kind of like common, right? Liberalization, privatization, and globalization also was related to the industrial sector only, but it is under the new economic policy. So please go through this industrial policy and economic policy. We have had questions on and off, could come, but it is definitely a good to know. If you get time, please go through it. Then comes the agricultural reform. So the big news in 2020 was how the farmers are protesting against the new farm reforms that were coming up in 2020, right? So keep a note of it, right? The farm reforms of 2020 at least. So there were 3 acts in it, 3 laws which aim to change the way agricultural produce is marketed, right? The farm reform of 2020 could come, high chances. Okay, at least they might ask you to ask about what is Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Act, or maybe what is Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement, or maybe what do you understand by the Essential Commodities Amendment Act. These are the 3 acts or the 3 laws which were proposed in the farm reforms of 2020. Okay, so according to that, the first act is Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Act of 2020. In that, it is for opening up of agricultural sale outside the notified mandis, so that farmers and remove the interstate trade barriers. So what will happen? The agriculturalist producers or the farmers can trade their agricultural produce outside the designated mandis for them. So wherever, whichever mandi is, whichever place is giving them more money for their product, they can trade over there. Now it is not that, okay, I'm in Thrissur, I'm from Thrissur, okay, I'm from Thrissur in Kerala. So if I'm a farmer in Thrissur, then that only I can trade over here, and then from me, my brokers can take my produce to anywhere and get more profit. That is what used to happen. I can only sell here, then they will take it up. But now what I can do is, if even though I am producing in Thrissur, if my product is having more, if my product will fetch more money in Ernakulam, I can go and sell there. Okay, that is something that is facilitated. Then it also provided a framework for electronic trade of these agricultural produce. It prohibited the state governments from levying any kind of a market fee or cess or levy on the farmers or traders or electronic trading platforms for the trade of farmers produce, which is conducted in the outside trade area, right? So I am from Thrissur, I am going and selling my produce in Ernakulam or Kochi, means, or I am using an online platform in order to deliver my products to somewhere in Ernakulam or Trivandrum. The state has no permission to levy any kind of a market fee or cess or any kind of thing from me or the traders or the electronic trading platform which I am using for the trade of my produce outside Thrissur. Okay, so that is how you can understand. Okay, Thrissur is just the trade area which I am able to trade. Okay, I'm just using Thrissur and Kochi and all as examples. Okay, so break the monopoly of government regulated mandis and allow farmers to sell directly to private buyers. So that was the first act. Next came the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on the Price Assurance and Farm Services Act. So according to this, a national framework for contract farming was trying to be set up. Okay, it provides a legal framework for farmers to enter into written contract with companies and produce for them. Okay, and it also defines a dispute resolution mechanism and provided 3 levels of dispute settlement. We have a conciliation board, subdivisional magistrate, and appellate authority. Okay, so earlier also contract farming is there. You might have heard some time back there was a big news about how potato farmers in Punjab and all, they were being used by Lay's company for getting potatoes. They were restricted from what you can say, yeah, they were restricted from growing the same type of potatoes that were used for Lay's, and a lot of big problems, right? So from according to the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Act, farmers are farmers can get into written proper contracts with companies if they require. It is not necessary. If farmers are willing, then they can get into written contracts with companies and produce for them. Then comes Essential Commodities Amendment Act, where cereals, pulses, oil seeds, edible oils, onions, potatoes, and all were removed from the list of essential commodities. And there was a deregulation of in the production, storage, movement, and distribution of these commodities. Which commodities? Cereals, pulses, oil seeds, edible oils, onions, and potatoes. Now, also these items, the stock holding limits on these items were also removed under except extraordinary circumstances, like maybe there is a war or a famine and all, some extraordinary circumstances only the government will now impose stock holding limits. Okay, imposition of any stock limit on agricultural produce will be based on price rise alone and allow agribusinesses to stock food articles and remove government's ability to impose restrictions arbitrarily. So that was the Essential Commodities Amendment Act. So earlier, cereals, pulses, oil seeds, edible oils, onions, and potatoes, they were not allowed to be people were not allowed to hold stocks of them beyond a certain limit. So that certain limit was removed. Now, as much as you can inventory without spoiling, you can inventory. Okay, so that was the Essential Commodities Amendment Act. So these are the 3 acts in the farm reforms of 2020, and this is what caused a widespread protests in the nation. So you must know about these farm reforms of 2020. It came as it was a what you can say, it was an assignment question as well in the last batch. Okay, not your batch, the previous batch, it was an assignment question as well. So important. So as I said, first, when you're studying for your exams, first point is make sure you go through all your assignments and their questions and their answers. Then the previous year question papers, which we have already discussed. And then apart from that, these are a few important points that we also have to know about. So with this, we are winding up business environment for this term. All the best for your coming exam. Tomorrow we will not be releasing any more videos because you need time to revise everything and get everything in order, right? All the best, study well. May you be able to use your knowledge, whatever you have gained, to write properly. Structure your answers, give appropriate headings. Okay, underline wherever necessary. Use your answer booklet properly, wisely. Write enough things. Okay, some of the tips with which you can actually blow up your answer to meet like around 4-page requirement is like by starting to write about the definition of the concept, what you understand by the root concept. Like for example, as I said, right, balance of payment. What do you understand by balance of payment? Then you can go on and talk about the different components, then explain about them. So like that, and then give a summary. Like there should be an introduction, body, conclusion, that kind of a format. If you follow for your answers, you will also be able to cover 4 pages. It is not an easy, I'm sorry, it is not a very difficult task. Okay, so all the best, study well once again. See you in the next video. Let me know how your exams went. Okay, I'll very much appreciate that. Thank you so much. Bye bye.